ain't not like Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, feel that weird beat? I've never even heard this. Sometimes it's disturbing the way I just hear something start going. I didn't practice. It's apparent that I didn't practice, cause it's all off beat and it's not neat. But this wind chime is kinda sweet. It might not be anything. I don't know what's gonna happen. I just start rapping, I start snapping. Sometimes it starts sounding like shit and I just can't catch the beat. But you know what? I still try to bring the heat like I'm camping. And I got a little trying to get a little spark, a little ember. And maybe we won't be so dark and we can remember the good times and the fairy tales. What? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, not everyone's gonna be good. And that's a life lesson, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to 7 Minutes in Evan, episode 200. Did I not realize it's episode 200 till right now? We did. Ladies and gentlemen, episode 200, bringing out all the corny sounds. Classic, bringing it back. What do we have here? Ladies and gentlemen, a man on a tale of getting to 200 episodes. Can he do it? Well, in fact, he just did it. Fuck Nike. Don't do it. I done it. What's that at the door? Episode 200. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If it's your first time here, where the fuck were you for episode 1 through 199? But it's okay. It's okay. We're still early. I'm going to be here at episode fucking 2000. All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Episode 200. Holy shit. What a reflection to think back to doing 200 of these motherfuckers. And still, that's what it's all about. Nike, you just do it. You just get through it. Ain't nothing to it. How you guys doing? Welcome to episode 200, ladies and gentlemen. Do we use the sound effects the entire episode? If it's your first time here, no. Okay. Did I go a little too hard at the beginning of this? Yes. You're wondering what I'm wearing? Well, thought you never asked, but it's a hunting vest. You know why? Your boy's a hunter. Could I even say the word right? No. Is it late? Yeah. Does the show go on? Yes, it does. Have I gotten very much sleep in the last 4 days? No, I haven't. But that's what's going to make this episode special. So strap in, kids, and strap one on. Not kids. All right. And that's why we don't have any sponsors. Stupid. Listen, I don't know what this one does either. Oh, this is perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, a man on a quest to get a deer. A buck to be exact. Did it happen this weekend? We don't know. Tune in to episode 200 and find out. Surprise, motherfuckers. It's episode 200. And we got a deer. Okay? My first one ever. I'd like to thank everybody who got me here. All right? Everybody who got me here. Every single one of you gave me the confidence. What? How? Who the fuck knows? But I just know when you accomplish things, you're supposed to thank God. But you know what? I like to thank the devil. All right? Because that's who pretty much got me here. Shout out to the devil and all his little demons. All right? Shout out to every little morsel down there in hell. All right? For keeping me going. Why doesn't anybody ever thank the devil? It's a weird flex to just only thank God. Sometimes you got to show the other side of the coin, you know? Because you know what inspired the Charles Daniels Band to make their greatest song of all time? The devil. It wasn't like God went down to Georgia. No, it was the devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind because he was way behind. He was willing to make a deal. I could sing you the rest right now. All right? The Devil Went Down to Georgia is the greatest song ever, including a violin. There is no song that comes even near. No symphony. I don't give a shit if you show me some fucking 6-year-old savant who can just play the fucking violin. I'm like, yeah, that's nice. But then But did the devil do it? No. Fuck out of here with that shit. Chicken in the penthouse, picking out gold. Round and around and around time zone. Shout out to Johnny. Shout out to Johnny. I feel like if any country wants to go to war with the USA, the US of A, the greatest country on this goddamn planet, just send them that song first. Say, hey, are you sure you want to do this? Because that song came out of here. And they're going to be like, no, we do not want to do this. Now, if you're cancel culture, you're like, what accent did he just do? Because whatever it is, racist and canceled. Nah, I did an ambiguous accent. Okay? Uncancelable. Okay? Fuck out of here with that shit. Great song, great song. But ladies and gentlemen, you know what else is great? Is to set a goal and accomplish it. All right? It's like everything matched up perfectly. I had one of the best weekends I've ever had. It hit every single thing that I needed in my life at this time. Okay? Because sometimes you get lost in the mustard and can't catch up. Hey, how you guys doing? Puns, keep up. Hot dog. It feels sometimes, obviously there's been stuff going on, I've been moving, a lot of new things in my life, but it's just all been feeling like I'm just going and going, I'm been burnt out, and then I get an opportunity where someone reached out and said, hey, you know, they mentioned that they went hunting, and I said, hey, I would love to do that. I'd love to go. You ever shot a deer before? Nah, but I would love to. Text me this week. I get the text, or I text them. They call me the next day and go, hey, you want to go hunting Friday? I have nothing to go with. I don't have a license. I don't have anything at that time. And I go, yes, let's do it. Next 24 hours, I got to get everything I need to go on a hunting trip. There's a list of stuff you need. All right? Get everything. Bam. Friday morning, I'm on the way. It's a great time because I've told you my infatuation with talking to older people in the sauna. Well, that transfers over to real life. It just so happens that the sauna is a vehicle to get in these situations where I can talk to older people. Not in a creepy way. Not in a reverse Chris Hansen, okay, where he's like, hey, stand up. Hey, would you like to stand up? That's what Chris Hansen would say to people who are going after old people instead of underage kids. Take a seat for kids. Stand up for old people. All right? You get the picture I'm painting. But I love talking and hearing people's stories and just seeing what kind of wisdom you can get from older people. Because they got a lot. We always love to pretend like this is all new. That everything is just all the world's different now. It is. Situations are different. But a lot of the emotions, the personality, the troubles that we have, a lot of them are different. It's just the variables change. All right? We're all still just out here howling at the moon and taking shots at it, you know? And that's why I enjoy talking to older people. Older, experienced people who you just hear their stories. And I also think it's just good. It's good for generations to cross-pollinate. Because the person I went with, older gentleman, old-timer. Old-timer, as I like to say. And a great person. Very nice. A true Texan. A true Texan. We're talking native Texan. But here's the beautiful thing. Been all over the world. Very successful in business. Been all over the world. A well-cultured individual. If you walk by him in a restaurant, you would have no idea the accomplishments, just the wealth of knowledge this person possesses. So I love to get in those opportunities where I can just talk to people, not to take advantage or anything like that. Just share life with them. You know, it's a great way to get to know someone. Take them on a hunting trip, see what they're all about. Okay. And you know what was great is I got to do a lot of stuff that took me completely out of my element and got me back in touch with life and enjoying it. I think so much, especially with what I do, with stand-up being my main focus and entertainment, it's easy to get lost in the cave. You get cave, what is it called? There's a certain term for it, but it would happen when I would be lobster diving. Tunnel vision, sorry. But basically, in when you would lobster dive, I used to lobster dive in California, different life. You would basically see these lobsters and they would be on the edge of a cave underwater at night. So you would get tunnel vision. You would go after the lobster. It would move back a little bit. And before you know it, a lot of people, they would get tunnel vision and they wouldn't realize that they swam so far into a cave and are now trapped there. They don't have enough air to get out. They didn't realize they went really that far in because they were just locked on their goal. And sadly, people drown like that. It's a dangerous thing that happens. Sometimes I get tunnel vision, and it's easy to lose sight of making sure you're living, brother. Making sure you're living. Making sure you're getting out there and enjoying the process. Not so focused that you're robbing yourself of joy. And I try my best to not compare. And you know, I really try, and I make sure I remind myself all the time, you're on your own journey. I've really given up on caring what anybody else does and caring if other people get things that are not, that they're not, like, you know, not deserving. It was something I learned early on in stand-up, was about don't worry about what anybody else is getting. Don't care if someone who's not funny is getting something that you wanted. And it's all a lie. It's all just deceptive. That's the new fucking strain after the Omicron. Decepticon, Omicron, roll out. Ridiculous. But I feel like it can rob you of joy. And getting out in nature, going on a hunting trip, and getting to, you know, listen, you get out there in the elements, all right? Your boy's out there chopping wood, stacking it 3 feet high, cutting back bushes, tracking deer, seeing where they're walking around, getting my peepers on them, looking at them through the binoculars, all right? It gets you back in touch. It does something to you. Makes your willy tingle on a human level. These old pathways that humans have ingrained in them that are meant for survival, but the reward systems that are built in. Food, shelter, safety, all that kind of stuff is all built-in reward systems in your body. And when you get to go out and do something like this, and that's why it was always crazy, is you know how much social media is a lot. You get a ton of followers, you get a ton of likes, views, comments. It doesn't really do anything. There's no reward system. So you put something out and you're like, oh, cool, people like this. But there's no reward system. It's a weird thing. And I think it's important to not lose sight of that and to put, you know, because that's what ends up happening is you see a lot of people get all these accomplishments and it doesn't feel good to them. They realize they're still empty inside. You were trying to get to a place and you thought once you got to that place, things were going to change. Nah, baby, listen. I don't know. There's a thing, even with buying a house, that you get in a house and you think, oh, now I'm going to be good and life's going to, no. It's the same thing. You feel like, all right, I got to keep working. I got to do this. And this was, you know, and what that tells me, it's all about the journey, baby. It's all about that journey. Which, the long way of saying this is going on a trip like this and doing something, staring at a fire, having some glasses of wine. Your boy hasn't drank it in so long. I had some Coronas actually a couple weeks ago. I'm lying. but I don't really drink anymore. And it's nice to just be like, because even if you're at home and you're having some wine or something, you're like, all right, well, I got to go to bed soon. I got to do this. Whatever. But there's nothing else. I didn't have service. I had to walk out in the middle of a field just to be able to text and call. But there's like, I don't have anything to do. Everything's taken care of. I just chill now, and try to hunt some buckos. All right. And it felt great. And it reminded me that it is all about the journey, about having fun during the process. Because listen, brother, you wake up and you're 65 and you're like, I ain't started living. I just cared too much about what people thought. And I cared too much about working too much. I cared about this and that. And none of that mattered. And I was too busy to start living, brother. It's too busy to start living. But let me take you on this journey. We get there. It's amazing. Listen, I drove through some amazing Texas landscapes. But I want to say I was in South Texas. I want to say that. And your boy not very good at Northwest, East, and South. All right? Just not that good at it. Sometimes I get all turned around. But I went through all these ranches. And I learned about what certain ranches are. I learned about how, the economy of them works. Because that's also a whole crazy world that I didn't really know about, were these hunting ranches. I kind of knew about them because I would Google access deer because it's big in Texas. And that was the first deer I wanted to hunt. So I've been trying to hunt. But it was like $1,500 just to try to hunt a deer, an access deer around here. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. It doesn't even make sense from like a getting meat standpoint, because that's also the other part of it. I love meat. I'm a meat eater. Take a look at me. Take a look at this vest. Meat eater. All right. But what I don't really like is factory farming. I won't be a vegan because of that. But I do want to get myself to a place where, I'm growing vegetables and stuff like that. And I'm also eating food that I've harvested. And starting to get into hunting is a way to get closer to that goal. I want to get freezers full of meat that I actually hunt. Right now, I have, I'll take you on a journey. But that's my ultimate goal, is to get out of factory farming. And I don't really care if other people do it. And it's a weird world that hunting gets discriminated against, but not the people who just go pick up some fucking chicken tenders and whatever, when it's like, oh, you're eating imprisoned animals. So you have nowhere to talk about the hunting people or animals people. You can talk about hunting people, I'm against that sometimes. But that's my ultimate goal with this. But the ranch, there's all this world of hunting ranches. And to get to this ranch I was on, I had to go through 4 different ranches just to even get to it. And some of the ranches that I drove through are called high fence ranches, which I didn't know what this was. The ranch that I was on wasn't that. It wasn't a high fence ranch. And what these are is, dude, these places, you can start looking up exotic ranches in Texas. They bring in these exotic animals from other countries. We're talking crazy African deer and just these crazy looking animals. I'm driving by these on this road, and on each side is a high fence. And I'm just starting to see impalas, and I feel like I am in Africa, because I'm like, oh, this is nuts. Like, these giant animals that you would never see here are fucking staring at me. They're like, hey, friend, what's going on? You want to get me out? I'm like, I wish you could, but you cost too much, And that's what I found out, is there's these exotic ranches where people go, they must have crazy amount of money, because some of these hunts are like $10,000. Like, I was Googling the ranches while I drove by them, and it's like all inclusive, $10,000 hunt, and you get to hunt this animal and blah, blah, blah. And, fucking, it's just a crazy thing. Like, I guess if you have that money, you can use it however you want. What's great about conservation, and that's why they call hunting conservation. You're conservationists, all right? What is his name? He was a president. Was it Roosevelt? I think it was Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt. Created public lands and just the idea of conservation and how important it is. And a lot of stuff when people buy hunting licenses, the tags, all of that like that is going to preserving nature and these animals. And they're the biggest supplier of funding for conservation is hunters. So in a way, hunting these big game animals, I almost sound like I said big gay animals. Listen, did not go there. Did I know the actual sexual preference of these creatures? No, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. Okay. Okay. So back up. Uncancelable. All right. Don't forget. But I had to drive through all of these. And what's great, I love the TV show Yellowstone. I drove through a cattle ranch. Was there the truck in front of me that was going through a gate too? Was the license plate Montana? And did a guy, just like Yellowstone, did the guy get out and he looked like a Rip from Yellowstone? Yeah. Black shirt, cowboy hat, wearing glasses. But he wasn't Rip, okay? He was like Rippleton, all right? He was like Wish.com version of Rip, all right? Rip backwards. He was Peter. All right. So it was dope to see just a different life. And what's crazy is there's like little houses and you just see deer frolicking. And I'm like, this is amazing. This is beautiful. Get to the ranch. It's cool. My buddy that I went with, old timer, has a deer lease. So he pays this ranch to be able to go hunt there and to be able to stay there overnight, which was dope. And it was just amazing. You know, we start chopping wood. We got all that ready for the fire that night. We went and checked out the deer blinds where you go sit in this place that where you can kind of see, and there's spots where the animals kind of walk through. So, he had a trail cam so we know where the deer normally go through. And it's amazing. And, listen, I'm someone who likes to sleep comfortable. All right. But your boy slept on a cot, not even a twin size cot. First night, hellish. All right. Didn't really sleep too much. I think I was super excited because of hunting. Was waking up at 5:30, which isn't crazy early, but for me, I only wake up at 5:30 once a week to go to this networking group that I'm in. But waking up at 5:30, it's dark out. But here's the thing. It's exciting. No matter what, you're stoked. You're waking up. You're putting on your fucking thermal layers. What are they called? Thermal layers. Why can't I think of it? Your base layer. Sorry. Putting on my base layer. It's cold. Getting everything ready. You're sitting there thinking about having a cup of coffee, but don't want to shit yourself in the deer blind. Listen, I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be real frank. Frank, real, if you're listening, being real frank right now. Your boy, once that coffee hits my lips, system activated. Shit is turning into an exit real quick. All right. So I have to tell myself, do you want coffee or you do not want to, or do you want to embarrass yourself in front of this Texan when you tell him, I got to go to the bathroom and have to leave 30 minutes into this deer blind? So I say, no coffee. I'm riding high on life this morning. And what's dope, we get in this little old truck that we're gonna drive to the deer blind, because that's the thing is we parked at the trailer. Then he had a little truck that would be to drive to the actual blind because it's a real bumpy road. Then we get there and then we just wait. We're waiting there, pitch black, and we're just waiting for the sun to come up. And that in itself is amazing because you're just sitting there, hushed whispers. Hey, how you doing? How's your family? All right. Do you hate me because I'm from California? Cool. Well, hopefully you'll hate me a little less after this. I think I did a big thing for the treaty between California and Texas this trip. All right. Because I think he realized that maybe the news isn't 100% correct about everybody from California. All right. I think I earned some respect of a true Texan. And I also learned about the pride of Texas and why Texans are so proud and what that represents. And it's beautiful. Okay? But we're sitting in this deer blind. Sun slowly coming up. It's a beautiful landscape. Some people don't think South Texas looks nice. It's a lot of bushes, really dense. But I love it. I love kind of a desert landscape. I was born in the darkness. I was born in the Antelope Valley. You think the desert is your ally. That's a deep reference, Batman, if someone doesn't know. But I love that. It's nostalgic for me. Being out there in the desert early, I love it. And just seeing the sunrise and seeing things like that are just special. And then around, sunrise happens, and then you start seeing it happen. Tick, 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 tick. You start hearing bushes rustling. You're like, oh shit, what is that? What is that? What is that? Little doe will come out. Makes your willy tingle because you're like, oh shit, there has to be bucks around here somewhere. If you don't know, if you're completely ignorant, a buck is a deer with antlers, a male deer, all right? A doe is a female deer. Her babies are called fawns. Yeah, I know shit. Not that much. But the doe come around, and they kind of stick together. That's something that I didn't really. The males and female deer, they don't really hang out too much, especially during the rut. The rut is when the guys are just fucking horned up, and they're going to the club just fucking wearing way too much Axe body spray. They're wearing affliction t-shirts, and they're going in that club to either fuck or fight. All right, and that's what these deers are doing, and they're aggressive. They're wearing like affliction t-shirts in the early 2000s, Axe body spray. They're with 7 bros, and they got fucking metal ball bead necklaces, and they're just like, hey, what's up? Hey, I'm fucking Chad. What's up? What's up? What's up? And they're just fucking wearing denim with the fucking designs in the denim. That's always knew how to stay away from some guys, is if their fucking denim jeans had lines in them and were bedazzled, and they were wearing that fucking mega hold hair gel from the 99-cent store that you would fucking put a glob in. You'd come out with 4 ounces and just stick it on your hair and spike it all up around with a little fucking flavor saver. Fucking Chad, puka shells. Ugh. That's how these deer were, the buck. And so there'd be does out there and everything. Real skittish. Listen, deer in the wild, so different than if you see deer in a neighborhood. In California and even in Texas, there's deer I see in the neighborhood and around. They're usually kind of skinnier. That's why they're in the city, because they're like, fuck being out in the wild. I'm trying to get something. Basically homeless deer just trying to get food. And they don't run. They hear a sound. They don't, a branch break, a car drives by. They don't run. They're just chilling. They're just staring at you. But these deer, if you even go like, I was like 50, 100 yards away. If you just go, they're going to hear that shit. 50, 100 yards away, and they're just going to go, and they're just going to look at you. And the white-tailed deer, when they look at you, sometimes they just go, and then their little white-tail just fucking waves off to everybody else, like, get the fuck out of here, get the fuck out of here, and they run off. You're like, goddamn. But these bucks would come out, and it's exhilarating. There was one, the first day, within the first like hour, a buck came out, nice 10-point buck, I think it was. Kind of a smaller body, it was a younger buck. My buddy that I was with, he was like, nah, we want to give him a little more time to, get older. And I was like, all right, well, I would have fucking murdered that thing. I would have shot him in the fucking head, out of respect. But, and it comes out and he's just like, trying to fuck these lady deer. He's trying to get all up in there. My name is Chad, and he's trying to grind up all on them. And they want nothing to do with Chad. They want nothing to do with Chad. And it was just crazy to watch the dynamic of how these deer were. And the first day, I think I saw three bucks and didn't end up taking a shot on any of them. Actually, I'm a liar. So we're hunting twice a day. We're going to hunt early morning and then in the evening. It was real windy in the morning, which my buddy thought that it was affecting the deer. They were like, oh, they're probably bedding down. They're not going to come around too much. But it was exciting. I saw like 3 or 4 bucks in the morning, and some of them had like too small of horns, too small of bodies, but whatever. And I could have shot a doe, but we wanted to hold out and see if I could get a buck. And we're there in the evening, a couple hours, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours go by. And actually here in between it, my buddy took a nap in the middle of the day. I decided to just forage out and try to find some deer antlers. I wanted to bring them back for my dog. Didn't find any. Probably for the best. I hear that you got to get the antlers in the wild checked for wasting disease, which probably wouldn't be a problem on this ranch apparently, but I was just like, nah, I'm just going to get store-bought then. Anyway, We get out there in the afternoon. About an hour and a half going by, we're not seeing a buck. And I'm like, fuck. All right, well, I don't want to shoot a female. We haven't decided if we're going to hunt the next morning. And finally, this glorious buck comes out of the shadows. There's a few doe around. He's interested in them. And my buddy says, hey, get your rifle ready. Ready. It's almost like ready, but I was ready. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting there and I get it all ready. It's already loaded at this point. It's ready to go. All I had to do is take the safety off. I don't know why I made that sound effect. It's for a dramatic effect. All right. So I get it up there and I'm just watching and I'm making sure I stay calm and I'm watching him through the scope. And he's probably about 200 yards away at this point, which is a decently long shot. I'm not a crazy shot, especially with a rifle that I haven't shot that many times. I'd only shot it twice. And I'm sitting there and I'm staring at him. And then he starts coming a little closer. He comes to like 180 yards, 150-ish yards. That's what my buddy says. He could anywhere from 150 to like 180. And I said, all right, I'll just lie, whatever. It'll get longer the more years pass. But then I'm watching him through the scope, and he won't turn the way I need him to turn broadside on me so I can get a nice shot on him. And finally he turns and he goes, take the shot. And I'm like, okay, stay calm, Evan. Wait. Squeeze the trigger. Don't pull the trigger. Breathe out. Take the shot. I take the shot. He runs off. And I saw a puff of like dirt that like hit. And I was like, fuck, I missed. And my buddy goes, hey, well, I think you hit him. I thought I saw you hit him because he was looking through the binoculars. He's like, we'll wait till like a half hour before it's sunset. And then we'll go look. And I'm like, all right, cool. The anticipation is crazy. He's like, let's see if something else comes out, because everything ran away. And I was like, all right. But, and I wasn't feeling that confident. I was like, man, like I thought he would have dropped. I saw which way he ran into the bush. And then half hour before sunset, I go and look where I shot him. And he says, you should see blood where you shot him at. And I'm like, all right. I'm looking, nothing. And then I start walking off kind of where I saw him go. And I'm like, holy shit, there's a little bit of blood. I literally was looking at this blood and I go, I don't remember what blood looks like now. Because I'm like, that can't be blood. There's no way I actually shot him. And then I'm grinning like a little kid. And I tell my buddy, hey, I see blood. Blood. I'm like that little kid. Blood. And then I start tracking. I'm like a goddamn bloodhound. I'm just on this track and I'm going. And I'm literally have to get to the point where I'm crawling pretty much in the bush. There's like a little spot where I can crawl through. These bushes got thorns all through them. And then off in the distance, I see him. I got him. And it was an amazing moment. I feel like that was anticlimactic. And I'm looking through the bushes. And there lies an 8-point buck. Victory was had. We came, we saw, we conquered. I think that was better. Use that take. Anyway, we ended up getting them out. And it felt great. I had a lot of respect for the animal. That's the thing. I gave the animal a pet. Thanked it for its harvest, what it's given me. Had a great life before that. And that's what it is I got a lot of respect for the animal. All right? It's not like I just, fucking kill animals, murder. I love that goddamn dog I have around me. More than most people. Okay? I love animals. But it's a reality of life. And that's one thing that I think hunting does. Even fishing, there has to be sacrifice for you to eat meat. And all it is putting you more in touch with that and the appreciation. Because you're in tune with what gave you that. And that's what I like and what is intriguing to me. And, it's easy to look when I hate seeing these PETA videos that go around because I just think PETA is a weird corporation. But you like forget of these conditions of these animals sometimes. In some places, I'm sure there's very humane things, but they cost fucking ridiculous amount of money. But some of these just aren't a good life. And it's like, I'm slowly trying to get out of that system. And that's just my own thing. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But anyway, also the next part, we get the deer out, and then we gotta dress that motherfucker. And by dress, undress it. All right. We end up hanging the deer. My buddy teaches me how to basically take all the fur off, deskin it. I think I just made that up. And quarter it up. Basically, I'm cutting all the pieces out of it, getting the back straps out of it. And I'll be honest, the anatomy of it, the whole process, fascinating. I was like trying to think in my head, I'm like, does this mean I'm Dexter? Like I'm a serial killer because I'm fascinated by this process? Maybe. But it really put me in touch with figuring out, like learning about this whole process. And it's new. It's something I've never done before. And I found the whole thing fascinating. I loved it. And overall, it was a great experience. I loved every moment of it. And that's the thing is like, even the waking up the next day, oh yeah, it dropped below 30 degrees. It was like 24. It was only supposed to get down to like 45. So I didn't, pack accordingly for 24 weather. There was no heat or anything. And your boy was freezing that night. All right. Woke up again at like 5:30, freezing, and going back out to the deer blind. I didn't shoot anything the next day. My buddy shot a doe. But it was like all that hard stuff to get what we got. And it makes you appreciate everything. It put a lot of stuff in perspective. It made me enjoy the process. It made me enjoy struggling, because I always try to struggle, as weird as that sounds. I always thought a great quote, I don't know where this came from, but you can either create your own struggles or life will create them for you. You can engage in problems or life will make up problems for you. I feel like that's naturally in humans to struggle. It's inherent in us to need to struggle. So that's why when you just give someone everything, they become miserable people. And that's why I've always enjoyed boxing, jiu-jitsu. I enjoy stand-up. I think one of the elements of it is because it's a live in-person event where you have to public speak, which is nerve-wracking, and the stakes are real. And that's one thing that I got from hunting, was being out there, cooking over an open fire, staring at a fire, eating excess deer sausage. I fucking love that. Cooking steaks over an open flame. It's just man shit at the end of the day. That's what this episode is all about. Man shit. All right, ladies and gentlemen. And I do mean ladies, Hey, how you doing? But I really appreciate it. I appreciated it, and I love talking to older people. And I love, I had some great talks. I could do a whole podcast about the talks that I had with this old gentleman, this old timer, old boy. And I learned a lot about life and important lessons that I'm going to always try to pass on and apply to myself. Because that was one of the things that night we got deep into a couple bottles of wine. And I literally would be just asking life questions. I'd be like, so what's the secret of what you think that separates successful people from unsuccessful people? I would literally just ask questions like that. And then I would even just be like, how has it been as a parent doing this? And I was just getting these gems. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. So my thing for you guys, if anybody's listening to this, talk to an old person, all right? For one, it's great for you to see how other generations are and to gain perspective. It's too easy now to blame the previous generations and to be ignorant to that times were different and to think that you know everything. But it's also great on the flip side to talk to these older generations for them as well. They got a ton of information and conversations are needed. I feel like they're not therapy, because you shouldn't be unloading on people. I always hate those people who just talk, and it's all about them and all their problems all the time. By having these conversations, it helps you iron out your own problems and iron out perspective, and it's therapeutic in a good way. So I suggest you talk to some old people, all right? Have Chris Hansen come over and be like, hey, will you stand up for me? All right? Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had some enjoyment this episode, extra long episode on the 200th episode. Thank you to everybody who's ever listened to an episode. I don't care if you listen to 1 or 2. Thank you to anybody who's ever reached out and told me that you like the podcast. Thank you to anybody who's ever subscribed to it. And thank you to the people who have left reviews. If you haven't left a review, for the 200th episode, if you could go leave me a review on iTunes. I think it's on iTunes that you can do that. It'd mean the world to me. And that's all I'm going to ask. After the 200 episodes, that's all I'm going to ask. If you've enjoyed that podcast, it's your friend, if you'd enjoyed me having strokes on this podcast like I just did, go leave a review. Tell a friend. And remember, no matter what, I still love you.